Catch all the best shows from your favourite fan channels on GFN Soccer TV, now streaming on Samsung TV Plus.
Will England win the World Cup? Welcome back, guys. We're back live at 5. I'm here with Laurie. How are you, Laurie? Good?
I'm good, man. It's Lyle at 5 again.
Yeah, Lyle at 5. But do you think England can win the World Cup?
It's possible.
It's possible,
definitely. I'll be expecting them to get to the latter stages. And when I say latter stages, I'm not talking round 16 or last 8. I'm talking semi-finals, final, depending on who we play. I mean, if you run into a prime time Brazil or Argentina or one of those, because obviously the World Cup's taking place in America, and normally when it does, the South American countries tend to dominate.
Yeah.
The weather's going to be a factor. Yeah. It's going to be very hot. But I still would expect England to get to at least the semi-finals.
Yeah. No, I
under normal circumstances. I mean, obviously it depends on the draw, but anything less than the semis, I think, is failure. In speaking to a lot of England fans, they're saying he's got to win it.
Yeah, man. Look, I mean,
who does that remind you of? Who does that remind you of?
We're here to discuss, obviously, the England squad. It's been announced. We're going to talk about whether it's fair for us to say Thomas Tuchel needs to win the World Cup with England, what the markers should be for him, whether it should be, yes, you have to win it, whether it's right semi-final or even the final. And as well, we're going to discuss as well the England squad, which is always an area of controversy almost, because we as English people know that we have a very talented nation in terms of football. We host the best league in the world. But let's firstly start on the England squad. So I've got the England squad here, right? I'm going to read it out to you. So this is what Thomas Tuchel's picked for the World Cup qualifiers. Just to remind everyone, we're playing Andorra and Serbia. I think we're playing Andorra at Villa Park, and I think we're away to Serbia. But the goalkeepers are Jordan Pickford, Henderson and Trafford. The defenders are Dan Burn, Mark Gay, Reece James, Ezri Konsa, Lewis Skelly, Livramento, Jed Spence, John Stones. The midfielders are Elliot Anderson, Morgan Gibbs-White, Jordan Henderson, Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers and Adam Wharton. And our attackers are Jared Bowen, Eberechi Eze, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Noni Madueke, Marcus Rashford and Ollie Watkins. So there's already some big names there that are not there. So I know, obviously, as Arsenal fans, Bukayo Saka's injured. Jude Bellingham is also injured, and so is Cole Palmer. That's already a big blow. But someone like Phil Foden's not in there. Someone like Kobbie Mainoo's not called up. I don't know if there's anyone else you can think of the top of your head that you think actually maybe should be in. Carl Walker's not in there. Someone who's, worn the armband for England. And Thomas Tuchel, as I was listening to him speak earlier, spoke about how when he was a club manager, tried to sign him multiple times and really admires Kyle Walker. I mean, what do you make of that team, first of all?
Well, the first thing I would say, without any shadow of a doubt, that should be more than enough to get the job done against Andorra and Serbia. I mean, Serbia are a decent side. Yeah. We're playing them away, so obviously you're going into hostile territory. Going to Serbia is notoriously difficult. But I would still expect England not to lose that game. But Andorra, let's be honest, man. I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but England should win and win comfortably. So that squad there should be enough to get the job done. But then, of course, you're looking ahead because you're preparing inadvertently, aren't you, for the World Cup? Yeah. I'll tell you what. Those omissions that you spoke about, Foden, Kyle Walker.
Sorry to cut you off. I also forgot Conor Gallagher, Ivan Toney, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Obviously,
that was going to be my point. Yeah, especially Trent. Yeah, I think Ivan Toney. Once he made that decision to go to Saudi, you're basically
kind of ruled out.
It's a tacit admission that you're not really putting England in your priorities because although the league is better than it's given credit for in some circles, it's still not one of the top leagues. So you're jeopardising your position by going there. He would have known that, so that's on him. But the Trent omission for me is wrong. What even worse for me, though, is the continuing selection of Jordan Henderson. I just cannot get my head around that. I mean, even the reasons that Thomas Tuchel has given, this so-called, but he provides experience and leadership. Come on, man. You go through that squad. There's more than enough leaders in there. There's several players in that squad. Well, not several, but there are a number of players in that squad that are captains of their club side. So they don't need babysitting or coddling, you know what I'm saying? Especially against the likes of Andorra and Serbia. So maybe you can make that make sense. But the Jordan Henderson thing, I just do not get that at all.
Look, I think it's interesting that you bring up, obviously, Ivan Toney, who's in Saudi. But for me, I know it's a different manager. But even when Jordan Henderson first went to Saudi, he was still getting called up. And I think, look, he's gone to Brentford now. But I still need to see more. If I'm being honest, I look at our midfield options. I'm like, this is a time for the future. Adam Wharton, who's just been incredible for Palace, just won them 2 trophies. We got Declan Rice. Someone even like Kobbie Mainoo. I know Kobbie Mainoo's not having the greatest time right now at Manchester United. We heard towards the end of the transfer window how he really wanted to go out on loan because he wants to play, because he knows how important the World Cup is for someone like him. I mean, I want to say Kobbie Mainoo's 20 or 21. He's probably thinking, right, this would be my first opportunity to go and represent England at the World Cup. I mean, look how fantastic he was at the Euros. I was thinking, wow, man, this is the future. Look at that midfield. Look at those midfield options. And I'm just like, Jordan Henderson he's occupying space for those young talents like a Adam Wharton, like a Kobbie Mainoo. That is much more exciting. And I'm just like, do we need you just for the sake of, oh, well, you've got leadership? Because to me, Jordan Pickford is also a leader. Harry Kane is a leader. Do you know what I mean? John Stones. Do you know what I mean? There's so many leaders in that
squad,
team.
right? Talking of leaders, so goalkeepers, Jordan Pickford is captain at Everton. Defenders, you got Mark Gay, captains Crystal Palace. Reece James is captain Chelsea.
Yeah.
Who else we got in there? John Stones as captain Man City in the past.
Yeah, Jared Bowen's a captain of West Ham.
Midfielders, Morgan Gibbs-White as captain Nottingham Forest. Yeah. Declan Rice has captain West Ham and has captained Arsenal. And then Jared Bowen, like you said, he's captained in Eberechi Eze as captain Crystal Palace, and Harry Kane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many more leaders do you want?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just don't make no sense.
Yeah,
and then the other thing I would say about Tuchel as well, even though, don't get me wrong, I was one of those that was advocating for him to get the job. I've been disappointed with the performances of England since he's taken over. I need to see something, man.
Yeah, I mean, if we go back to our last game, we played Senegal, which was a friendly, I think.
We lost.
We lost 3-1, and I think that's very flat. It was a very flattering result for us, considering how we played, and it still showed the defensive vulnerabilities, which I was like, you know what, Thomas Tuchel's a really good manager. He's someone that when he was at Chelsea, you saw that Champions League run they went on. They beat the likes of Real Madrid with just a team that wasn't expected to beat a Real Madrid, for example.
I've been disappointed.
Beating a Man City.
I've been disappointed.
Yeah, and it has been disappointing.
Not only have the results not been great, but the performances have been very underwhelming. I mean, is he Gareth Tuchel? or Thomas Southgate?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, man. The performances have been pretty dire.
Yeah.
The football served up. I mean, when you consider the quality he has at his disposal, the almost embarrassment of riches, should be doing better, man. I mean, still a way to go.
Yeah.
And to give him some slack, you know, I mean, he's just taken over. But even so, man, I mean, come on. When you've got that level of talent, no disrespect to Senegal, but you should not be losing at home to Senegal.
Yeah, exactly, man.
And like I said, some of their performances have been pretty mediocre. Yeah. And that's being kind. You know what I mean? So
I agree with that.
He's got to step up, man.
I mean, Clara Bitsy, shout out Clara Bitsy for sending a super chat. She says, calling up Konsa instead of Trevor Chalobah, who's been so immense for Chelsea, it is questionable. I mean, that's another good thing that I didn't think about. He's called up Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think Adam Wharton has pulled out because he's injured as well. But like,
even that, I mean, no disrespects to Loftus-Cheek, but I wasn't like overly inspired by that. Was you?
I mean, to be honest, I don't really watch enough of Loftus-Cheek to speak, but yeah, I guess so. Like, obviously as Premier League mostly watches, I don't know.
I mean, look at that. The corresponding game with Andorra, we only beat them 1-0.
Yeah.
Go on.
I mean, the style of play so far hasn't been world-beating, let's put it lightly. But as you said...
I mean, I know it was in Andorra, but it's hardly hostile territory.
Yeah, we should be going to Andorra, and no offense,
should be slapping.
We should be
them.
battering them 3-4.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That should be seen as a confidence boost for this young team that's essentially, you know, got loads of talent but still needs to gel. You should be going out there and saying to these players, say, right, go and make a name for yourself. Go and show me why you should be going to the World Cup, etc., etc. But I think my main issue is that you look at this team, right, and there's so many players, as we mentioned, that weren't called up. There's too much talent for England to have to be nowhere near the level of winning a major honour. Like the fact that we haven't won anything major since our first World Cup, which was way back before any of us were even alive, right?
No, I was.
Was you?
I was.
Right,
66.
Let me take that back.
I hear what you're saying.
But like, I wasn't even alive for that. Do you know what I mean? That was God knows how many
most
years.
people watching this weren't
even alive.
When
YouTube weren't even created back then. Do you know what I mean?
No, I mean,
like the fact that we've not really, like, even the times that we've gone to finals, the way we've played in those finals, the accounts that we've given for ourselves, we've had a golden generation before. You think about how many incredible talents, Frank Lampard, Stevie G, etc. We didn't win anything with them. I'm looking at this new era now and I'm like, it's almost another golden generation of talent. Bukayo Saka, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, Harry Kane. And I'm like, and you're telling me we haven't won something yet with this group of players? It's actually insane to me.
Yeah, I mean, how many golden generations have we had?
Yeah, because I look at some of the other nations that have won things, right? And I think we've got similar amount of talent, if not more, than those nations.
Oh yeah.
Like, same as I look at Spain, I'm like, we're actually littered with so much talent, probably even more than Spain, probably even more than France. And I'm like, why can't we get over the line? Why can't we win a Euros? Why can't we win a World Cup?
I think one of the reasons I would say for that is, although we've had the talent, people have said we've not had the manager to get it over the line. Again, where have we heard all this stuff said before? But anyway, but so like the manager's role is crucial now, and this is why I was an advocate of Tuchel, because we've seen at club level, he's won things, he's very experienced, he's a savant of the game. You hear him talk about football, you think here's a man who knows his stuff. He's also, I would say, quite a prickly character, the kind of character that gets things done. So all those things you think would align. But then he's taken over. Okay, he got the 2-0 win against Albania, 2-0. Weren't that impressive. Beat Latvia 3-0. But then the performances have not been great. And then losing 3-1 at home to Senegal. I mean...
Yeah.
I know it was a friendly, so we shouldn't get too overly emotive about a friendly result, but even so, it was the style of football, and it just didn't give you that vibe to say that we were on the right track. You know what I mean? We should be.
It didn't inspire hope into think, right, much has changed its garage. Because if I'm being honest, I watched some of our games so far, and I'm like, what's the actual difference between what we've seen under Southgate, which was very pragmatic, very fossil football, compared to now? Like, look, I know that Thomas Tuchel's only just come in, but you would expect someone of his caliber, of his quality, which we know already, he's a top manager, to quickly implement these changes, which is, you know, as England fans, we've already said, why are we so pragmatic? Why do we park the bus so much? We want to see more attacking, flowing football, especially with the players we've got. We've not seen that yet. So, look, I'm against Andorra, which I believe is on Saturday. I expect to see that. I want to see free-flowing football. Even though we're missing bare people, I still want to see a convincing win. I still want to see players, you know, impressing us, and actually going into that World Cup, we're thinking, raw, man, there's so much to choose from. It's actually, we should feel guilty of leaving someone behind, if that makes sense.
I mean, I know in talking about omissions, a few people have said about Jack Grealish not being in the squad. And listen, a fully fit and firing Jack Grealish should be in the squad. However, you know, to be fair to Tuchel, Grealish has only started playing football again. Yes, he's had a couple of good performances against Everton, but it's still a way to go.
Yeah, no,
so I can understand him being left out. But the Trent thing, I'm a bit disappointed about that.
Well, to play devil's advocate, obviously Trent, he joined during just before the Club World Cup. He played, I believe, all of those games for Real Madrid. They were knocked out of that. but it's not really gone the way that he'd want, because we're already seeing reports come out from Real Madrid where actually Danny Carvajal's going to get his spot back. Trent Alexander-Arnold's going to be a bench option. So in Thomas Tuchel's mind, if we're staying consistent with what Thomas Tuchel's done so far and what he's kind of said, and he's kind of basically said, if you're not playing, I'm not calling you up, which in a sense, I actually think is quite fair. I think if you want to be going to a World Cup, you need to be playing for your club. So right now, Trent isn't playing for Real Madrid. Is it fair?
He has
to
played
just,
though, right? It's
yeah,
just,
he
he's
has.
Not a regular.
He has played, but he's not playing like he's not starting every game, for example. Like the fact that you've got a new manager coming at Real Madrid, especially in Xabi Alonso, and he's already maybe thinking, especially with the system that Xabi Alonso plays, which is these wing backs, which for someone like Trent would be profitable for someone like him, and based on how he plays. I think the fact that that manager's already said, right, I'm going to bring back this old shiny new toy in Danny Carvajal. Is it fair to actually understand why Thomas Tuchel hasn't called up someone like Trent? You can't just call someone up on talent alone.
Yeah, you can say that, but then we could point to our own Luis Skelly. He's in the squad. He's not started any games for Arsenal so far this season.
That's very true.
You know what I mean? So I still think that that is an overlook that I don't agree with. I think Trent, the sheer level of talent that guy has. I mean, I saw him the other day for Real Madrid. He provided an assist for
I think Mbappe.
Yeah. Brilliant. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
One of the few fullbacks in the world that would even thought of doing that, let alone executing it. So, yeah, I'm a little bit perturbed at him being left out, because even though he may not be starting for Madrid, he's still amongst the... That says more about the quality Madrid have, more than
exactly.
Trent not being good enough to get in the squad for England. So I hope that doesn't continue, because if we get to the World Cup, we definitely need...
I actually agree. I've always said that I actually want Trent to start for England. I think we're talking about someone who's like revolutionised how we look at fullbacks. Like, there's no way that someone that talented is not starting for his country, in my personal opinion. I think about the long balls he can put in for Harry Kane. Look at the way him and Saka link up so well when they play together. I just think we're losing a weapon, someone who's so incredible. Like, I mean, Real Madrid didn't chase him for over a year for no reason.
Exactly. And not only that, as you hinted at earlier, he brings a different style of play. So he's what I would call a more attacking, a more creative fullback. So he's going to try and find the gaps, the spaces, to thread those passes that, let's be honest, most fullbacks are not going to be able to do, or probably wouldn't even think of doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's be honest. So that's an attacking outlet that England need, if you ask me. I'd say, okay, maybe if we're playing certain other teams and you want a tighter defensive lineup, then I can see why he might not be the preferred option, depending on who they play in that position. But you can't tell me that he's not good enough to feature in the squad. I'm hoping that this omission for these two games is exactly what that is, just for these two games.
And I think for someone like Trent, who's, I mean, under Southgate, as I said before, didn't start games, essentially, only came on every now and again, or maybe started games against lower opposition. He's probably thinking like, right, I want to play for England. I want to play for my country. I want to go to a World Cup and potentially win it with a new manager and a new outlook. Like, especially with obviously how he's kind of received a lot of flack for going to Real Madrid from Liverpool fans, especially. And but then I'm looking at this list, right?
Would they be the same fans, by the way, that are running after Alexander Isak's car?
But anyway,
man.
You know what I mean? No comment. Let's not start them up.
Let's not start that.
Mo Salah already cussed them out already. But just looking at some of these fullbacks, right? As you mentioned, Miles Lewis-Skelly's on here, Livramento's here. Someone that's not been called up before and has been called up is Jed Spence. Now, like, Jed Spence plays for Tottenham. I think when he started his Tottenham career, it didn't really start the way he wanted. But we have to say he's been fantastic for Spurs. He's been one of their best players in the last season, if I'm being honest.
I mean, let's be honest about Jed Spence. He first came on our radar when he was very good for Forest against us. A few years back in the FA Cup, I think it was. He's always had the talent. There have been question marks about his, how can I put it? The way he's conducted himself in the past, hasn't endeared himself to people. But that could be a maturity thing. He seems to be maturing. And under managers at both Ange and now Thomas Frank, He's progressed. He's looking good, and he's definitely worthy of his place.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think when you look at it like that, you maybe understand why it would actually be criminal in a way for someone like Jed Spence to miss out for someone like Trent, based on the fact, if we're going on the fact that Jed Spence has played almost every minute for Spurs, how pivotal he's been, the fact that as well, he's a bit more of a traditional fullback, but he can get forward very well. He's a very good defender. He can play on either side as well, which is good. He can play left back or right back.
He's a very good one-on-one defender. When I've seen him, I've noticed that not too many people get the better of him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we saw what he put out, that Instagram post, bring me your best defender, or something like a best attacker, or best winger.
He's clearly got a lot of self-belief. But yeah, I mean, to be fair to him though, I've seen the definitive improvement in him, and he was always good, but now he's stepped up levels. And like I said, I think that's also to do with the fact that he seems to be maturing as a person, because as I said, I've heard stories, I'm sure you've heard stories too, that I wouldn't say he was unmanageable, but previously he'd had issues.
Who was his manager at Middlesbrough? Let me Google this. But even
I'd heard stories that he was difficult to manage, let's put it like that.
Yeah.
But he seems to have matured. He's put that behind him, seemingly. And we're seeing now a player of real quality, and he's a really good defender.
My bad. Yeah, because I remember when he, like, Middlesbrough won a cup or something like that, or they must have got promoted or whatever, and he was having a spat with the manager. I think he got sacked, essentially. And in the end, Jed Spence he posted that Instagram post, like, almost having, like, the last laugh, essentially. So, he's kind of had,
Yeah, he's had his issues, man. I mean, like I said, we've all heard the rumours. We've all heard stories that he's not the easiest of people to manage, or wasn't. But to be fair to him, he appears to have knuckled down at Spurs. Because remember, when he first rocked up at Spurs, he weren't getting in the team.
Yeah.
He was going out on loan and all that. Then he got recalled. Ange gave him, to be fair to Ange started using him, and he's progressed since then.
Yeah.
And he looks good. So, but again, listen, why can't both of them be in the squad?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So you got one that's a really good defender and one that's really good going forward. So you could easily utilise both of them.
Yeah, exactly, man. Right, let's try and pick the team that we think should start against Andorra. So goalkeepers. I'm going to go Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Pickford.
But is there an argument to say that, look, it's against, and it is still a very important game.
You're right.
It's a World Cup, to be fair, it is a World Cup qualifier. It's still a very important game. But maybe Thomas Tuchel could look at it like, no offence, it is Andorra. Do we need to start our number one goalkeeper in Jordan Pickford? Could we give Dean Henderson, who's been very, very good? Could we give James Trafford? I know he's had a bit of a shaky start in the last two games his game against Spurs wasn't the greatest, but he's still a very promising goalkeeper.
Yeah, I mean, Henderson's looked really good recently. I mean, remember him in the cup final against City.
Yeah.
He
was
really
excellent.
good in that game.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He's pretty good. Those guys deserve to get some minutes. So I wouldn't be against him starting against Andorra. But then the goalkeeping situation is almost one of those unique positions in the team where managers tend not to experiment too much.
Yeah.
If you're number one, you're number one. So I would expect Pickford to start, to be honest.
So would I. And then let's talk about our fullbacks. I mean, we've got Dan Burn, who can play fullback, even someone Ezri Konsa, although he has played centre-back mostly. He can play fullback. We've got Reece James, Mars Lewis-Skelly, Livramento and Jed Spence. I mean, it's quite difficult here, isn't it? Because he's, in the last two games, I think he's played Dan Burn and Mars Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah,
but
I'd be surprised if Lewis-Skelly starts for England this week, given that he's not
I agree with that,
started for Arsenal this season. And given what you said about Tuchel being an advocate for players playing for their clubs. And Livramento is very good.
Yeah, he is very good.
Position.
He is. I mean, do you think we can maybe see Jed Spence start?
I could see that. Yeah, I wouldn't be against that either, to be honest.
It's hard to say. I'm going to say... But then I haven't seen Livramento. I can't remember seeing Livramento under Thomas Tuchel. I mean, I haven't seen Jed Spence either. So he might just be like, right, maybe I should go with two players that I've already played that I do maybe trust in Dan Burn and Mars Lewis-Skelly. I'm not too sure.
I mean, Mars Lewis-Skelly scored on his debut for England.
Yeah, it's true. But then, as you said, he's not played a single minute.
Yeah, so...
I don't think he's come on. Has he even come on for us? I don't think he has.
I think he has come on.
Maybe against
I think he come on
Man
against
United.
Leeds, isn't he? He has come on. I forget what game it is, but he's not started any of the games. I think he might have come on against
Man United right at the
Yeah.
end.
He's not started any of the games.
And then centre-backs.
Because you've got to remember as well that the left-back is not his normal
he's a
position.
midfielder by trade.
He's a midfielder by trade, so...
But he's settled in very well there, so... But in terms of centre-backs, we've got Mark Gay, we've got Ezri Konsa, we've got John Stones... I personally want to see Mark Gay and Konsa. That's what I personally want to see. If we're talking John Stones, if we're going based on what Thomas Tuchel's usually like and what he's been consistent with so far, John Stones has only just come back from injury. Like, to me, I know Ezri Konsa got sent off on the first day, but I've liked Ezri Konsa for England, and Mark Gay to me should always start for England.
Yeah, Gay, he's probably our best central defender.
He's our best defender in my personal opinion. And yeah, I mean, he was, in my opinion, at the Euros, our best player. Considering that was his first major tournament, he just looked so comfortable. He's so good.
So who are we going for fullbacks?
So I said Dan Burn and Lewis Skelly just because he might lean towards them because they've played. Well, because they've played under Thomas Tuchel already, whereas we've not seen Livramento or Jed Spence yet under Thomas Tuchel. But I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Jed Spence, to be honest.
I'd be tempted to go for Jed Spence and. I
don't know what everyone in the chat's saying. Drop who you think.
If Reece James is fit,
there's Reece James in there.
Yeah, I'd go Reece James
Actually, I completely forgot about
Reece James and Jed Spence as the two fullbacks, two centre backs.
I'll go with that. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, two centre backs, Gay and Konsa.
Yeah. So midfield we have Elliot Anderson, Gibbs White, Henderson, Rice, Rodgers, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I'm going Rice and Henderson. I think Henderson will play, if I'm being very honest. I think Declan Rice will play. It's just whether we're going to see... I think it's between Gibbs White and Morgan Rodgers who's going to start in that creative role. I'd probably say Gibbs White. I do want to see Gibbs White there, if I'm being very honest.
You don't want a midfield three then?
Yeah, that's probably... I think...
Who are you saying? Sorry?
I think he'll probably start Henderson, Rice, and either Gibbs White or Rodgers.
Right.
I just think Jordan Henderson's going to play. I don't personally want to see that, but I think he will play.
Right.
I mean, you called him up.
I don't want to see Henderson, but I
don't want to see Henderson against Serbia. So I'd rather him, if he's gonna play, just play him against Andorra.
Yeah, I'm dead against that selection, to be honest.
Because if I'm being honest, right, I'd actually love to see a midfield of Rice, Rodgers, and Gibbs White. That's what I personally would like to see. It's a young, energetic midfield. And you've got players in there that can maybe switch around in terms of what their duties are. They're all very good in terms of how their work rate. I'd love to see that, but I do think Jordan Henderson's going to play. I do think he's going to start.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right. Me, I'd go Gibbs, White, Rice, and Rodgers. I wouldn't even be averse to seeing Wharton play against.
But he's out. I think he's out.
Oh yeah, he's out now, isn't he? Yeah.
See, this is why I was so annoyed about. I know Kobbie Mainoo's not. We need that guy to play, man, because he's just too talented not to have him in the team. Because if he was there, I'd be saying I want to see Kobbie play, if I'm being honest. But yeah, anyways, right, attackers. We've got Jared Bowen, Eze, Gordon, Kane, Madueke, Rashford, and Watkins. Like, we've got Rashford back now, which is good for England.
It is.
I think Harry Kane's definitely going to start.
Oh, definitely.
He's captain of England.
On the left?
I don't know, man. I mean, you've got Anthony Gordon, you've got Marcus Rashford. I mean, Anthony Gordon was also sent off in the second game, so we've not seen as much as we would have wanted to. But I would say as well, for Newcastle, he's playing a different role at Newcastle at the moment. He's playing almost like a false nine with Alexander Isak's exit. So, but then Rashford, he's had a bit of a slow start.
Got to go Rashford on the right.
What, on the right or on the left?
Oh right, yeah.
I think he'll start Madueke. You know, he seems to like Madueke.
Yeah,
he
does. Yeah, well, he worked with him at Chelsea, didn't he?
Yeah, he seems to really like Noni Madueke. So I do think Noni Madueke will start on the right.
I'd like to shoehorn Eze in there, but
yeah, but I think Eze will come off. I think Eze will come off the bench. From being honest, I think maybe I'm gonna go Anthony Gordon on the left. To be honest.
I could see him.
I think that's
Gordon.
Probably what will happen. I think that's probably the team that he will play. But there's a lot of options there.
This is what we were saying earlier. There's an embarrassment of riches there.
Yeah, I mean,
any of those permutations should be enough to beat Andorra and Serbia, especially Andorra.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be a bit disappointed if we don't beat Andorra more than 3. If I'm being very honest.
Yeah.
We're at home. We're at Villa Park, which is English territory. There's going to be a lot of people there. I expect to see this team beat Andorra comfortably. That's what you should be doing.
Oh, yeah, 100%,
really and truly.
100%.
They should be looking at this and saying, right, our hardest game is Serbia. We already know Serbia is a very tricky country to face. They've got good talent, but yo, man, Andorra, they should be licking their lips, saying, yo, this is an opportunity for me to maybe get my first goal or add into my goal and goal tally for England. I'm putting a good word for myself for a manager who's already shown he doesn't pick favourites, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? Yeah, I just thought about Jared Bowen. I mean,
he's looked good for West Ham. I mean, he's one of the few players for West Ham that's stepped up.
He was robbed of that. He would have had goal of the season. Callum Wilson owes him big time. That's all I knew. Callum Wilson owes him big time. Because when I saw that, man, I was like, if that had gone in, just wipe.
And that was the issue as well, wasn't it? It was such a great run.
Oh, I'm
sure he would have scored.
Yeah,
sure he would have, because he'd already scored in that game.
Yeah, exactly. He'd beat like 6 players.
And Callum Wilson. I guess it must be instinct for a striker, though. You see the ball in that, so you're thinking, but even
Jared
so,
Bowen, man, come on, man. Jared Bowen's no idiot. Do you know what I mean? And I think with Jared Bowen, there's someone that's super underrated because he plays for West Ham. We're talking about someone that's super consistent. We saw how he was. I want to say no, he didn't score twice. Sorry, but he was so good against Nottingham Forest. You see it. He gets the ball. He's just the way he finishes with the ball is just incredible.
Definitely.
I mean, we're talking about someone that if he was at an Arsenal or a Chelsea, we'd be sat here saying he's one of the best wingers in the league. Definitely. He's so consistent. I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing. As well. Yeah, he's a great finisher. He can play as a striker as well, which we saw not just season gone, but the season before, where he was playing as in the 9.
He's a
captain and he's a leader.
Exactly.
Yeah, some of the chat is saying Kobbie Mainoo's a baller. I mean, bro,
he is, but I'm not sure if you could just stick him in there. He's hardly played. Yeah. I mean, okay, he played against Burnley, didn't he? A little bit. No, he played against Grimsby.
Yeah.
Did he play against Burnley?
I think he might have come off the bench, maybe.
Yeah,
but
he's not been starting though. Yeah, that's the problem.
I mean, even against Grimsby Town, I'm not being funny. That wasn't the greatest display, was it? That midfield was getting ran all over by Grimsby Town.
So I'm not sure if he's earned his spot.
Yeah, so he's not really. This one guy says he's overrated for me, Kobbie Mainoo. I disagree with that, man. I think
he's a good player, man.
He's a really good player, and I think, to me, Man United should be doing more to make that guy play because he is fantastic. It's not very often nowadays that you get young midfielders of that talent come up in your academy. That's an area where we had to pay 105 million for a midfielder. Do you know what I mean? We've had to pay 51 million for another one. So it's a very, it's hard to get players of that quality in there. But I mean, that's the team that we're saying. I don't know if the chat disagrees with us, agrees with us. Put in your comments on what you think, who should be playing, who shouldn't be playing. But you know what, right? I'm going to bring up somebody, right? And he's been under a bit of scrutiny. Some of the things that we saw have already been debunked by big up Fabrizio Romano. But Jadon Sancho,
man, yeah. Today, had the
rumours coming out about him.
Social media stuff blowing up.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Turned out a lot of it, or most of it, or even all of it, is not true. But.
But I mean, we're talking about someone at one point, right? I remember when Sancho just joined United, shout out KG, and KG was sat here saying to me, he's better than Saka, he's this and that. We saw the amount of goals he was putting up at Borussia Dortmund. He looked to be an incredible talent. Does he have the opportunity, right? He's now moved from, obviously Chelsea didn't work out. He's not going back to Man United. He's at Villa on loan. Is this an opportunity for Jadon Sancho to say to himself, right, I'm going to that World Cup?
100%. I mean, this is an opportunity. I mean, let's be honest. Since those United days and his problems with Ten Hag, it seems to have gone a bit flat for him. We all know he's a very talented footballer, blessed with a lot of natural talent, very good player on his day. Even at Chelsea, there were times when he did show, but it's not enough, not consistent. I suspect that, again, maturity. I suspect that with somebody like Sancho, he needs to really knuckle down, take responsibility, take accountability, and start producing on a regular basis, because he has the talent to force his way into the squad. It's whether he can get his head right and put in consistent performances. I do think, though, him going to Villa, that is a good move, because I do think the manager there won't take no nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, I mean, it's interesting because Rashford went to Villa, didn't he?
Yeah, and look, he's at Barcelona.
And he did well at Villa.
Yeah, he did.
And that inspired his move to Barcelona. I think Jadon Sancho will be looking at that. We know he's good friends with Rashford. I'm sure he would have talked to Rashford before that move and said, look, what's it like at Villa? And I'm sure Rashford would have said, yeah, man, you know what I mean? It's a great club, great manager, great fan base, high-profile club. Go and do your thing.
Yeah, man. I mean, look.
He's behind the 8 ball at the moment, but you know what football's like. If he puts in a run, we've seen it with Jack Grealish at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
If he puts in a run of performances, all of a sudden, people will think, yep,
exactly,
he's in the mix.
I mean, the reality is, if we go back to what Jadon Sancho of Borussia Dortmund was, he was super talented. And we're looking at him like, oh my God, this kid's so good. I mean, he can play false nine as well. He's so technical. It's actually a shame as English people that someone that talented has fallen out or fallen down the pecking order so much. But I do think Villa now is a great opportunity for him because he's going to play every game. Villa's not really started the season how they would have wanted to. They lost their last game, am I right? Yeah, they lost to Palace 3-0 at home.
Yeah.
I mean, they got absolutely battered. Yeah, which, you know, they drew with Newcastle, which in a way they were lucky too because Newcastle peppered them and they had 10 men on the first day at home. I forgot who their second game was against.
And they've not had a great transfer
window. They've got PSR issues. That's what really surprised me as well. They've got PSR issues mostly because they spend, I saw some stat, I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but they spend about 95% of their revenue on player wages.
Yeah.
And obviously, Jadon Sancho's a high earner at Man United. Shout out Dylan. Dylan was saying to me that because Man United haven't made the Champions League, basically all the players get hit with like a 25% deduction. So I think he said his usual 300k is now like, I don't know, I don't remember how much he told me, but it's in the 200k somewhere.
You know what? He must be struggling to survive on 200k a week. That's such a drastic drop in wages.
And I was reading
I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, but I was reading how Villa are paying about 80% of his wages, which is basically almost all of it. I mean, it did surprise me, but this is a good opportunity for him to go there where he's going to play every game for Villa. You're still playing for a big club. You're playing under a great manager and you're playing with good players like Ollie Watkins. You've got John McGinn in there. You've got Yuri Tielemans.
Villa's a very good club. Very well-run club. Like I said, they've got an excellent manager. It's a big club with a big fan base. But with that comes expectation. There's no hiding place there. He will have to knuckle down. I mean, I wouldn't say he's in the last chance saloon, but he's not far from it.
Yeah.
I mean, at Man United, that was a car crash. That went totally wrong. He went to Chelsea, let's be honest. He didn't pull up trees there. He was at Dortmund in between that. Okay, yeah. So, you know what I mean? It's a little while now since he's really shown of himself to be that guy that people thought he could be. You know what I mean? It's been a little while now.
Yeah.
Too long,
and
let's be honest.
I want to say Jadon Sancho is like 25, 26.
Yeah.
He's still relatively young. Football's a short career, do you know what I mean? Most people end their football careers in their early 30s if they're very lucky. And I just think he has the opportunity to turn it around. You know, I was reading about Dele Alli. Remember Dele Alli a year ago was saying how he's got the World Cup countdown for the qualifiers on his phone. Like, we don't want another situation like that where he's
just been released,
he's terminated with Como. Like, we don't want something like that happening to someone who's ultra talented, who has the opportunity to redeem himself.
That kind of thing should be a cautionary tale for people like Sancho. Because remember, at one time, Dele Alli was very highly
he was one
regarded.
of the best. He was one of the best young talents in our league, and I think at the time, who was manager at the time?
His fall from grace has been quite dramatic, actually.
Yeah, it has, man.
So
we're talking about
that should be a cautionary tale for people like Sancho. Dele Alli, again, blessed with a lot of talent, but for whatever reason, he had problems off the pitch and so forth. He had depression and things like that. Never recovered his mojo, and now look, getting released by Como. Not a good look. Where does he go from here?
And Como's an up-and-coming project.
Yeah.
So, Chris Collectible says that he believes that Sancho is on 225k a week, but Villa will pay 180k. And he says Sancho is not going to be that guy. We're just hoping he'll turn up, but you can see he's totally unbothered with football anymore. I mean,
I must admit, I do sense with him that he has a motivation issue. He just gives me that vibe, man. I've seen the same kind of thing that guy's seen him at concerts, and
that's what
he looks like he's putting a little bit of weight
was
to
with
me
him at first, wasn't it? I think that's what Ten Hag's issue was with him at first. Like, you're almost unmotivated. You're not dying to play. Like, you're almost just happy to kind of coast.
The hunger appears to have gone a little bit, so he needs to recover his mojo. Like I said, the manager there, Emery, he's a known taskmaster.
Yeah.
And he won't suffer fools.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and if he doesn't work at Villa, then there will be that recurring theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would have been at United, Chelsea, Dortmund, and now this move.
Exactly. And it's very rare.
It's a big move for him, man. He needs to produce.
And it's very rare that you see a player like Jadon Sancho, who's kind of failed at the last two places he's been at, still get a big move somewhere.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So he's got an opportunity, and plus Villa want to, they missed out on the Champions League on the last day last season. They want to get back into that. They have to get back into that for their financial issues. He's got the opportunity now to put himself in those Villa fans' minds as, I'm the guy. I hope he takes it, because then it's another good problem for someone like Thomas Tuchel to have to say, man, I can't ignore this guy. I can't ignore this technically brilliant guy that can play in multiple positions, who's resurging, who's actually locking in on his career now. And he's had the time at United and Chelsea, but he wants to be serious. Maybe I should take him World Cup.
I can remember when he came to United from Dortmund. I remember this. I was watching a program with Rio, and he was talking to the little interview he did with Jadon Sancho, and Rio was saying, look, man, this guy's got it all. I'm impressed with him. I think he's going to do really well. That seems like ages ago now. So he really does need to take this opportunity with both hands. It's all on him, man. It's all on him. The stage is set. He's got to put the work in. Like I said, take accountability, be responsible, be mature. The talent is there, we know it, but he's got to produce. Simple as that.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the manager to wrap up. Thomas Tuchel. I mean, he's come in after Gareth Southgate, who, to be fair, I want to give Gareth Southgate credit, because to some degree I think a lot of us kind of wipe away what he did really good. He took England, I should say Sir Gareth Southgate, my apologies. He took England from essentially a very underperforming nation. I remember we were getting relegated out of the Nations League and things like that. He's taken us now to a big nation we're challenging to win something. We are going to finals. We are just about being beaten on penalties to Italy and beaten by 1 goal to an elite Spain team. Like, we have to give him credit for that, because he's really built up. I think one thing that he's done really well is the integration of young players, something that we criticise a lot of our old managers for, where they would not call up young players who were ultra talented and favoured, older players that were nowhere near. But he didn't get us over the line ultimately. Thomas Tuchel has been brought in to do that. Do you think we should be saying it's win the World Cup or bust to Thomas Tuchel?
Yes. I'd say that. I mean, it's not a complete binary question, because as we said before previously, supposing they get a prime time Brazil in the quarterfinals or semi-finals or something like that. But what I am saying is, I mean, his contract states that he's there just for the World Cup.
Yeah.
But he's already talking about he'd like to stay on already. Yeah. I've heard him say that. But really, the only way he's going to really stay on, if we're being honest, is if England win that World Cup. And let's be honest, they will be up against it.
Yeah.
Because, as I said before, when the World Cup is held in that part of the world, in America and places like that, it does tend to be won by South American teams. The weather is not going to favour England. So it's a very difficult task. And I mean, with Southgate, I mean, if you consider when Southgate took over, I remember it was just after the Sam Allardyce debacle. And he did really well in transition. Again, who does that remind you of?
Yeah, exactly.
Transitional
like
managers coming in, doing a good job, but almost becoming nearly men. I mean, the disappointing thing about Gareth Southgate is I always point to this. You saw it as well, because you remember we did a watch along downstairs for AFTV. That game against Italy at Wembley, he should not have effed that up.
Yeah, he parked it up.
He got that wrong, and in a lot of fans' eyes, they never really forgave him for that. Yeah. Because that was the one, man.
It was on home soil.
Yeah. We were 1-0 up.
There for the taking. They hadn't, to be honest, Italy hadn't even played very well in that tournament. They'd kind of scumbagged their way to that final.
Yeah. But we allowed them to. And we 1-0 up.
We were 1-0 up in 3 minutes.
Yeah, at home.
We're at home at Wembley in front of our fans. And he played it too safe. He parked it up. They got one back.
Now, where have we heard this before?
Yeah, where have we heard this before?
and
then
he
got
did
to penalties. And then
and
even
from then on, a lot of people just had it in their subconscious that he was going to be a nearly man. And then we saw it with Spain. To a slightly lesser degree with France. I think against France we did play well. We were slightly unlucky there.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And, France went on to reach a final, and the rest is history. But yeah, I don't know about you, but I never got that impression that Southgate was a winner. And so I got to say that when him and England parted ways, I was okay with that.
Yeah.
We thanked Southgate for what he did, and we move on to the next one. I was in favour of Tuchel, even though a lot of people were saying he's not English. We can't have a German manager come in and manage England. It's not right. I don't go with all that kind of stuff.
I agree with that.
I agree with the best man for the job. At the time, I agreed with Tuchel taking over. But I've got to say, Kenya, since he's taken over, and I do, he's very early stages, but I've been a little bit underwhelmed. That's not to say that he can't achieve what he's been brought in to achieve. I guess what I'm saying is he's going to have to step his levels up.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. I think in terms of Gareth Southgate, one thing I credit him massively on is that he helped change the culture of how we look at England. Before, we always looked at it as a very underperforming nation, one that was never getting anywhere close to. Now we're very close. We're just a foot behind that line. It's just whether we can cross it. And I do think with Thomas Tuchel, he's not hit the ground running in maybe the way that we want. Don't get me wrong, we've had some results. I think other than the Senegal loss, I think we've won all the other games, but even those were by fine margins, 1-0, 2-0, in games that, to be honest, I expected and wanted to see our team really flow and click together. But one thing I do really like about Thomas Tuchel is the way that he's calling people up. He's saying, I'm not in this mindset of what Gareth Southgate was kind of in, where it's like, right, I know you're ultra talented, I'm just going to call you up on that. And Thomas Tuchel's kind of taking the approach of, I'm going to call you up on merit and game time. If you're playing for your club and you're performing very well, I'm going to give you an opportunity. And we've seen the likes of someone like Miles Lewis-Skelly, who in my opinion, I didn't even expect him to start that one game. He starts and he scores. Do you know what I mean? He's given people the opportunity to say, someone like Morgan Gibbs-White, that I think should have been called up sooner. We're seeing more of these guys, which is really important for the country. And I think one thing that frustrated me a lot with Southgate, especially in our last tournament, was we saw someone like Phil Foden, who had performed poorly and was performing poorly actively in that tournament, but he persisted with it. He was like, this is my guy. Whereas Thomas Tuchel so far has been like, right, maybe he does have a few guys, like I think Jordan Henderson is probably our most questionable one at the moment, but he's saying, no, I'm giving Gordon a chance, I'm giving Madueke a chance, I'm putting Gibbs-White in, I'm putting Ezri Konsa in and Miles Lewis-Skelly in, I'm calling up Jed Spence. That's what I really like to see. I do think saying to someone though, you must win a World Cup in your first chance with a brand new squad is very harsh. It is
harsh. And like I said, it's not like it's going to be an easy job. It's not like the World Cup is taking place in England where you're going to have the advantage of the crowd and the weather and stuff like that. But, he accepted the job under those terms. And it's noticeable that, a couple of games into the job, he's already talking past the World Cup. saying he'd like to keep the job. Well, if he wants to keep the job,
he knows
got
what
to deliver.
do. Yeah.
I mean, he's had 4 games so far. He's had the 3 World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah.
And a game against Senegal. Now he's won the games against Albania, Latvia, and Andorra, respectively. Yeah. He's supposed to do that.
Yeah, he's supposed to do that.
But interestingly, though, the first half-decent team he came up against was Senegal. I know it was a friendly. But not only were we beaten that day, we were beaten comfortably. I watched that game.
So did I, man.
Yeah, and Senegal could have won by more than that.
Ismaila Sarr and that were tearing us up.
Yeah, and that was worrying, bro. Even though it was a friendly, I mean, let's be honest, when you pull on that England shirt, there is no such thing as a friendly, really.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Everyone's trying to do their best to keep their place in the team. Even though it was a friendly, the manager's looking at the players coming in to see where they fit in his system.
Yeah.
And they were beaten handily by Senegal at home as well. So not a good look. And even some of the winning performances have not been, like I said, the Andorra game, 1-0. Even the Albania game, although Lewis Skelly scored in that game.
Yeah. We should have scored by more.
That was the highlight. Yeah. We should have won that game by more. Latvia, come on, man. That's easy work. Yeah. So we need to see something.
Yeah, we need to see more for sure. And I think, he is in a transition period. He's only just joined, and this is his second camp.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to give him a bit more time, and hopefully against Andorra and Serbia we see something that inspires us to say, right, maybe this guy is.
I mean, the Andorra game at home, like you said, Villa Park, that's a gimme.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, we should be beating them by at least 2. Yeah. At least 2, and that's me just being reasonable. The Serbia game away, though, that is going to be a difficult game because notoriously Serbia are difficult to beat at home. It's quite a hostile ground by all accounts, and Serbia will be up for it. So,
am I right to say though that in the Euros we just about beat Slovenia and Serbia? Weren't they both in our group? So,
but even Serbia's form, I'm looking at it. I mean, beaten 3-0 by Spain, drew with Switzerland, drew with Denmark, drew with Austria. They beat Austria at home in the Nations League. Yeah. They drew with Albania.
Yeah,
they beat Andorra 3-0. So they're not blowing up trees.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not.
So that shouldn't be a game, even though it's away, that is insurmountable. We should not be losing that game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But hey, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's exciting times. But Laurie, I just want to big you up. Thank you for coming on.
No worries, man. It's a pleasure.
Before we go, give me your predictions for England versus Andorra at Villa Park.
4-0.
4-0. Wow.
But
what'd you goal scorers?
We should be beating these guys, man. Especially after that last game where we lost to Senegal. The players should be wanting to put that right.
Yeah. Who's your goal scorers?
Harry Kane. Who else?
Matt says 6-0 and 3-2.
Eze Madueke might get one. I mean, let's have a couple of Arsenal players in there. Yeah, Declan Rice.
Lewis Skelly.
Yeah, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 3-0. I said already, if I see anything less than that, I would be disappointed. I want to see free-flowing football as well. I see Harry Kane scoring 2, and then maybe someone else scoring.
I'm going 4-0, but I won't take anything less than 2-0.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyways, big up yourself.
For the Serbia, we're just talking about that game.
Serbia. Yeah, let's do Serbia as well.
Yeah, let's project ahead. Serbia.
I'm going to say 2-0 2-0 to us.
Yeah, I was going to go with that
in the Serbia game because we're away from home. They are a tricky team.
And Serbia do not score a lot of goals.
Isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I know they got 3 against Andorra, but they drew at home to Albania.
Yeah, you said Latvia, right? They beat Austria, but then they drew with them as well.
Yeah.
So they got a bit of a mixed bag.
They drew with Denmark. Yeah. They drew with Switzerland.
Yeah, so we should be.
We should be.
All teams that we've actually.
If we are who we think we are, we should be beating them. Simple as that.
We're locked in. Yeah. But yeah, anyways, Laura, just want to big you up. Thank you for coming on today. Do you want to plug out LL Sports?
Yeah, man. Don't forget to keep it locked and loaded. You've seen it there, man. The branding is there right in front of you. LL Sports TV. We do football, we do boxing, we do some bit of current affairs as well. We've had Kenya on.
Yes, man.
I'm going to try and get Kenya on again before the end of the week to talk some more football matters. But yeah, man, I'm around. I'm ubiquitous. I'm there.
Yep, and I've been Kenya. Thank you for watching on DR Sports. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, get your comments in. We're here all the time. Keep an eye out for Best of Enemies. That's coming out on Friday. We've got Weekend Preview tomorrow, where the Weekend Preview guys will debunk a bit more, go more into the England games. But peace, we're out.
Catch all the best shows from your favourite fan channels on GFN Soccer TV, now streaming on Samsung TV Plus.